So AutoGen is here and it is amazing. AutoGen is actually a new state-of-the-art framework to create AI multi-agent teams. Because right now you can think of the AI assistants as a team of assistants, a team of AI agents. And when you think about it, like AI agents are better than standalone LLMs like ChatGPT or basically GPT 3.5. And I talked about AI agents in my previous video. So you can just have a look how to build your first AI agent with LangChain. And then you can take your AI agents to the next level by creating multiple AI agents working together. And the results are almost always better because those agents like correct each other and help each other improve the final results. And right now, the AutoGen, it has the edge over the other frameworks to build AI agents because of 4 features that it has. And one of them is the complete flexibility. So actually you can build the agents, they are so customizable, so you decide on the size of the team and the roles and how the chats, how the groups of agents, how the teams are created and how they interact with each other. And so to summarize, you decide how many agents you've got in your team, how much autonomy they have, and I'll talk about autonomy later, and what type of assistance do you need. So what are the specializations of each assistant and who can talk with who. So you can see it here. And there is another example, like here are some examples of how they can work together and different types of joining the agents with each other. And the other feature is the human participation. So in other AI agent-based projects, such as AutoGPT or GPT Engineer, you just gave your agents initial instructions and they delivered the final results. Sometimes they asked for more clarification, but it was always on the beginning of the conversation. And then you were just waiting until the agents were done and you saw the final results. And AutoGen has changed that and it's added the human participation thanks to this User Proxy agent. And you've got this human input mode. You can set it to never or always or terminate. But with AutoGen, you as a user can give feedback to the partial result. And by giving feedback, I mean you can just correct, suggest improvements, or ask for more features. Like you didn't think about something in your initial prompt, but then you thought, okay, the results will be improved if I add something new. And you can always just give it to them to change the final results that you want to get. And then this the third feature is this multi-agent conversations. As I mentioned, with multiple AI agents working together, the results are almost certainly better, and they almost must be better. And in AutoGen, you can create group chat, and you can think of it like as a team of AI assistants, and you can take it like to, you can think of them as a team, as a normal team that you see in a workplace, but instead of human, you've got powerful large language models such as GPT-4. So it's up to you how your team will be structured and how many members are they and what's the specialization for each of them. And then again, you've got the fourth feature is this flexible autonomy. And thanks to the user proxy agent, you decide how much autonomy the agent has. And just to clarify, the user proxy agent, it talks to assistants on behalf of you, and you are the user, and it always gives the instructions to the assistants. And as a cool feature, it is able to execute Python code. And so then you can decide again how much autonomy you give to it. And from the documentation, you've got this human input mode, and you can set it to always, terminate, or never. And always, it means that you don't give the autonomy to the user actually. So when assistants are finished with something and they want to ask you for feedback, they always ask you. And with terminate, it's conditional. So sometimes the user proxy agent will talk to the assistants without asking you for permission, and sometimes they won't. It depends on the conditions that you set. And there's never. It means that you just give the full autonomy to the user proxy agent, and it'll finish the task for you by cooperating with other assistants, and it'll just deliver the final results. And just to mention about assistant agents, they are able to write code, they are able to write text. So it's just like standard GPT alone, but you can create as many of them as you want, and then they can talk to each other and help each other to get the optimal results that you want. And there are those group chat managers that is a leader of the team of assistants. And just to double down or even triple down on that, AI agents working together give the best possible results that we can get today from large language models. These four features combined have created this amazing framework that is capable of generating next level applications, and that's what they claim here. I mean, if you go to AutoGen, to the documentation, it says enables building next-gen LLM applications based on multi-agent conversations with minimal effort. So I hope you're excited to see how it works. And just so you know, AutoGen is on GitHub, so you can easily install it on your computer, and I will provide the link in the description. And now I want to show you one of the examples, and it is actually taken from the documentation, and I will also give you the link, but you've got the examples here, and when you go here, you see many examples, and you can run them in Colab notebooks, and I'm using the first one, and I just clicked on it, and then you can click on open in Colab, and that's what I did. And it explains step by step how to run AutoGen. And I've just decided to use a slightly different example to differentiate slightly from what everybody's showing, because everybody's showing these stock prices. But let me just go through the Colab notebook with you. Maybe I will increase even slightly more. So pretty much the first thing you need to do is just to install AutoGen. And then you need to set up the config. This is how you can do it. This is one example of how you can do it using this file, because the AutoGen automatically looks for this file, or maybe first for the env variable called OAI, called OAI config list. When it's not found, it looks for the file, and that's how you can set it up. But in my example, I'm just using the config list like this directly in my Python code. This is my model GPT-4 and my API key. But then you just, again, as I mentioned, you work with mainly with two types of agents, and those will be User Proxy and AI Assistant. Again, they are shown here, Assistant Agent and User Proxy Agent. And again, you just generate it like this. You say it's Assistant Agent, you give it a name, and then you apply your config list. And this is the config list. I gave it here, and this seed and temperature are here only to make this Colab notebook reproducible. And maybe what's important to mention, I'm using GPT-4 because the results are much better, and GPT-4 is much more capable than GPT 3.5 Turbo, but it has a huge downside. I have to say it immediately. I've run multiple tests today, and I'm already at over $4 only for today for running the code like 15 times. So you can use GPT 3.5 to make it like 40 times cheaper, but the results won't be as good, or maybe it even won't be able to solve the task that you give it. But there is a workaround to that. You can just create like several agents, several assistants, and each of them would specialize with something else. And for this project, we just have our User Proxy agent and a single assistant. In the User Proxy agent, we've got this human input mode to set to never. So I just want my User Proxy agent and AI assistant working together to give me the results that I'm expecting, and without my participation. And then there is like how many maximal replies there can be, and this is this termination message, which usually ends with terminate. And then there is this code execution config, and the directory is called coding. And as you can see, it's generated. I didn't create this folder. It's called coding. So when I got the result, I got it's created this coding directory and use Docker to false. And they really advise to use to set it to true, because you execute Python code. Okay, cool. So let's move to the example. And I just thought about this, like what date is today? This question is here only to help the agents realize it's not 2021 anymore, and plot the dollar to euro exchange price this year every day. And I really wanted to work with some weather data to also show something on a like time series, but it failed. So I just used this example. So give me dollar to euro exchange price. And how does it work? So my User Proxy has taken my message and passed it to the assistant. And the assistant just starts working. And first, it goes to the current date using Python, and it's generated a short Python script to get today's date. But again, assistant isn't able to execute code, so it just passes this code to assistant. And it just says, okay, when you run it, it will print today's date. And next we need to get this historical exchange rates from USD to Euro for this year. And it's decided to use this Forex Python library, and it wants us to install this library, and then it's generating the Python code. So it's getting those currency rates and then set some dates and so on. And here where it's try to plot this time series I asked for. And right now it returns this. It says what this code should do, and it returns the code to my user proxy. And user proxy is able to execute code again. So it's tried to execute, and it's got some execution failures. First, it's generated this today's date, so the first part. No, not this one. So it's it's executed this code, and it got the results. Okay, today's is 11th of October, which it is. And then it's collecting the Forex Python, because our code says install Forex Python. It's done without my interactions. So the user proxy does it all for me. And when the packages are installed, it runs the code and it says date is not defined. And then the user proxy just says to assistant, okay, just fix this problem. And assistant says, okay, I apologize for the oversight. And it figures out why this problem occurs. And it says, okay, the date function was not recognized. And it says, okay, the date function was important in the first part of the code, but not in the second part. So it's basically forgotten about the date, and it's corrected this mistake by importing the date. And it's run the code again, but this time there was another problem, like there was this data was not available for some dates. And it's run to the errors, and the assistant decided to modify the code to skip dates for which the exchange rate is not available. And that's the improved code again. And it's returned the code, and my user proxy has run the code, and it's got some results. Okay, and the assistant says, cool, the code executed successfully. Thank you. There are some missing dates. I want to stop here for a second, because I think I don't want to overlook how amazing it was, because look, all of this happened without my interactions, and there are really failures in the code, and there are some mistakes, and the assistant and my user proxy have together figured out how to fix the problems, and they ended up with the code that actually worked. I mean, I don't know yet if it worked, but let's assume it worked, because the output of the final code was here, so no errors. And this is this kind of self-healing process, and you can see it here. For example, like there's this user proxy agent and assistant agent, and they just interact with each other. So give me the code. Here is some code. Here's the execution result. And the assistant says, okay, based on this result, I need to improve or something. The assistant figures out that something was wrong, what was wrong, and tries to fix the problem. And then the user proxy executes the code again. And yeah, if there are mistakes, like assistant improves again. And if not, it's final. And in my example, there were it was twice. Like first, there was this no date error. Okay, I will fix it. and then user proxy executed the code again, and there was this error. Okay, I will improve it again, and these are your final results. So this is the mind-blowing part. And I wish I could express it better, but it all happened without my interactions. And that's what I mean when I say that multiple agents working together give always better results, because without those AI agents, like doing it only with GPT-4, you would have to run the code yourself and then paste these errors to ChatGPT. And right now, everything is done for you by your user proxy agent and your AI assistant. Yeah, so this was already amazing. And if it's not amazing enough, a very cool feature is that you can just follow up the previous question. Like you can follow up the conversation by saying user proxy send. And because now this user proxy remembers our conversation, you can just add, like modify it slightly. So I just asked to like give me this USD to Swiss franc price, and then because I couldn't see the plot, I wanted to save the plot to this file. And yeah, and user proxy has given the same message to the assistant, and the assistant says sure, and it's figured out what I want, although I made some typo, and it's adjusted the code, and it's and it says that this code will print today's date and create a plot. And then the plot will be saved to this PNG file. Okay, and then my user proxy is actually executing the code, and they say, great, okay, the code's executed successfully. Okay, let's see. And so if it's saved in this with this file name as I specified, it should save in this coding directory. And just to remind you, here in the third cell, we said for this code execution config work, there was coding. And as I mentioned, this coding folder is here. And if I open it, I can see exchange price year to date. And this is exactly how I wanted it, because that was what I specified. And then with this file, I just open this, I go to coding and this file, and I actually can see the plot. And I didn't do even anything. And just to quickly review this, there are some problems, but those are those dates that were missing actually, like look, 3rd, 7th, and they have slightly damaged our plot, so probably the code needs some further improvement. But I hope that you see how powerful this tool is already, and I hope you are excited just as much as I am. And I think I will. That's enough for this video. It's already long enough. I just want you to tell you that I'm already working on some other project with AutoGen where I took it to my computer and I let it modify my Obsidian, my second brain, and it's already generating summaries based on the URL I provide, and it actually saves Markdown files in my second brain. But that's the topic for the next video, so just stay tuned and subscribe to my channel to see how I took it, how I really customized this. AutoGen, how I used function calling with AutoGen. And you can expect this video in the following days, in the next several days. So thank you for today and have a great time.